Weather likely not to be our friend back there. It's 6 degrees to 18 degrees, 20 degrees, much different from here, but we actually are looking forward to the freezing cold temperatures where our players actually can thrive. Um, I'm sure LAFC won't like it, like most teams don't like the cold and altitude, and we embrace that. So we'll be training outdoors. We're not going indoors. We're going to be outdoors. We're going to get back to where we're comfortable, being a little uncomfortable, but we welcome it. So our guys are excited to for what that means, which that cold weather means. Yeah, games coming at home, and there's a certain excitement. You can hear the guys talking about what that's going to be like in our building.
And welcome to Rapids Rant 2025, not the preseason edition, pre-CONCACAF's Champions Cup edition. That was Rapids coach Chris Armas getting ready at the end of the preseason, an undefeated preseason, which was definitely needed after the Rapids end the season of 2024 on a 6-game losing streak. And that was a rough last month for the Rapids. Coach Armas said maybe in early September he thought they needed 50 points, and they got their 50th point in September, and then they did not get another one, eventually losing in the second match of a back-to-back opening round playoff series to LA Galaxy, excuse me. And wouldn't you know it, they won the championship. So at least the Rapids lost, to the best team at the end of the year in the league. LA Galaxy on the roll. Salt Lake crashed out in the playoffs just as the Rapids did. We made it to the exact same length of the season the Rapids did. And now, after going undefeated preseason, scoring some goals, and going undefeated in two countries, Mexico and United States, I think the Rapids were getting some of that optimism back that we had lost in October and the end of September. Congratulations to the LA Galaxy for their championship, their fifth one. And their former coach, Bruce Arena, has a new address on the West Coast. We'll be talking about some transactions the Rapids have made. My thoughts on the Super Draft in Philadelphia is coming up. We'll talk about some new faces for the Rapids and around the league. My always favorite, and I kind of wait to do the first Rapids Rant of the year until the jersey comes out, which is literally 3 days this year, 3 days before the season starts. Spoiler, I liked it, but we'll talk about that more later. Or 9 picks in the Super Draft. Some of the games on the schedule that I'm looking forward to. By the way, I'm Don Pablo. This is Rapids Rant. I don't know if it's the original Rapids podcast, but we definitely, me and former co-host Kev Berto, he's a co-host emeritus. He can come back anytime he wants. Say the word. He usually will come back when I ask him. And sometimes our schedules don't work out. He's a very busy fella over there doing his radio gig. That's Kev Berto. Heck of a guy. And I know I'm old when his son graduated high school, and another buddy's daughter graduated high school this year. And it's weird when I make these like sports analogies and people have no idea what I'm talking about. And I was making one today, or maybe this past weekend, and they had no idea what I was talking about. All right, this is Rapids Rant. You can find us on Blue Sky, on Twitter. Of course, I'm always looking Facebook. I do make comments on Reddit if somebody needs a question answered that I know, because I go to I see some fair amount of trainings, try to get there every Tuesday for questions with a coach and selected players. like I was saying, Rapids, we've been around since 2000, I believe 13. So we haven't been going straight for 12 years. This will be 13. But we picked it up again as your weekly podcast here 5 years ago, end of 2020, start of 2021. And I've taken you, the listeners, through the ups and downs of the Rapids, amazing signings and draft picks. Bombito. We spent some money with Georgie last year. We've gotten lucky winning the West on the final day, actually against LAFC 2021, our upcoming opponent in CONCACAF Champions Cup next week. So you can find us on all social media platforms. I just signed up for TikTok, so I'm going to be doing some short ones during game days, I think. And I'm trying to get into that space, so I'm excited. Like I said, I am an old man, so adjusting to the social media climate. And it's funny, I don't know, and there probably is a way to like just make one post and put it across everything. Although I haven't figured it out. So usually at a game, I'm doing Twitter, then I go to Facebook, then I go to Instagram. Now we have Blue Sky. I don't really go to Facebook during games and when I'm trying to post stuff on the internet, because Facebook will get me distracted really more than anything. Because, my old friends, high school friends, or people that have been around, they post stuff for 20 years ago, see my memories, and then I'm like, oh man, I got to reply before. Anyway, social media is just a time suck. So, but that's why I watch the Rapids game again when I get home for games at home, so I can see the TV feed. I wish we could watch an all 22 feed, but that's saved for the scouts and the front office people. But obviously, again, you get your Apple TV Plus. I heard that Messi made quite a bit of coin off of every subscription internationally, and good for him. That guy, he needs to do a little better, fulfill his contract. And I think Miami, after they crashed out of the playoffs, didn't even make the final. They have reloaded, and they're trying to. I think they're going to try to win every game this year, which will be interesting to track. Once again, I'm Don Pablo. You can find this show, Rapids Rant, on YouTube live, Mountain Time Sports Report. Caberto will load it up to all the podcasting platforms, any that you listen to: Spotify, Audible, Apple Podcasts, wherever you want to watch it. Also, you can watch it live if you follow Mountain Time Sports Report. I do it live there, and I just take the audio. Actually, use that audio to make the podcast because it's the easiest way that I found. YouTube, thank you. So, my thoughts right at the end of last year. Obviously, Georgie was hurt, and I will credit him. He plays hurt, and I think if you've ever played a season of anything, high school, college, you pick up little injuries, little nagging injuries that really don't go away until you get a couple weeks off in the off season. And I think Georgie played through a lot of those last year, and I'm proud of where the Rapids got, and I'm sure they're looking back on the season and all their accomplishments, excited, and where we came from, obviously in 2023, to finish 8th, get to the playoffs. They were in the top 4 for maybe a month in the season, and looking back, maybe the run to the Leagues Cup 3rd place finish over Philadelphia, maybe that kind of, all the other teams had like a couple weeks off, right? Columbus, they didn't really need any time off, although they also crashed out of the playoffs. LA Galaxy just dominating from September, October, all the way to MLS Cup final. And good for them. 5th championship. Maybe I hope they can talk some trash to LAFC, because LAFC came in there, had a couple of good years. Obviously, Kellen Acosta moved from the Rapids to LAFC, and they won over there. Anyway, it was maybe the Rapids peaked, a Leagues Cup, but that gives them an opportunity to play CONCACAF Champions League. And, we haven't been in it for a couple years, but I'm excited. Although the draw, not my favorite thing, because we get to play LAFC 2 more times. And this year we at least are scheduled 4 times against LAFC. And that would be Champions League next week, next Tuesday, February 18th, February 25th, a week after that. Then we play them again, May 31st, and the last game of the season, Decision Day, October 18th. And that's not even if we play. We might be able to play them a 5th time in Leagues Cup. They are the way Leagues Cup is, they changed it this year. I'll get into that when it gets closer to it, but we could play LAFC a 5th time in Leagues Cup, which I believe would be the most we've ever played a team in a season, which would be interesting. So we're going to see a lot of LAFC. We're only playing Salt Lake twice. So it's going to be interesting for the Rocky Mountain Cup. We're not getting that 3rd match this year. For that, no Rapids in the U.S. Open Cup. We get Leagues Cup and, like I said, Champions Cup. And after this year, there's only going to be, I think, 18 teams in Leagues Cup. So Rapids are going to have to earn that, as well as, if we can get back to CONCACAF Champions Cup 2026. But I am getting ahead of myself. And before we get into all the players that have come to the Rapids and trialing, and I'm sure they're putting a lot of effort into Rapids 2. More news on that team in a little bit, but 9 players from the draft. And I wanted to say thank you, Lawless, for all you've done. Rapids Rant, this will be our 5th season since we've been back, and he was here all 5 of those, including the Western Conference Championship in 2021. Then that Thanksgiving playoff game, and they're not even going to do the Thanksgiving playoff games anymore. So it might have been the only one that will ever happen on that holiday. And even though it's a melancholy feeling because both number 1 seeds lost after having a break, we can have that memory. And it was a 65, maybe 55 degree day that day. Tailgate was hopping, and if I were to say one thing that would happen Tuesday, the 18th at Dick's Sporting Goods Park when the Rapids open their season for the 2025 edition, is give us that tailgate. And today, it is overcast here in Denver, but we have 55 degrees outside. So give me that on Tuesday. I'll be very excited. I haven't looked at the weather reports yet, but maybe it's still too early, 3-4 days until that happens. So just give me that for Tuesday. Everybody's outside. Media's outside. Everybody's outside. Nobody's inside for the Rapids. So let's go. We keep the same weather conditions outside and inside, although luckily media press box is in the overhang, so we don't get rained on. And no weather delays. I don't expect there to be weather delay, not in the winter time. But so Lawless, we lost Lawless. He filled in. He started center back most of his tenure when Bombito came on, obviously last year. Took Lawless's spot when he was sold to Nice. Lawless got it back. He played admirably, played really well in the Leagues Cup for that run for the Rapids. And yeah, man, I wish him well. He went to FC Dallas, so good for him. Although now he really has no chance to win MLS Cup because, Dallas never won anything. All right. I guess they won NBA title a couple years ago, but whatever. Not happening again. And after they traded the best offensive player other than Nikola Jokic in the NBA to the Lakers, they're not winning anything anyway. So, man, I was trying to think of like dumb trades the Rapids have made in reference to that Luka for Anthony Davis trade a couple weeks ago. And I'm like, we did trade Kyle Beckerman for Mehdi Bellucci. In the end, it did work out for both teams, really, because Salt Lake won their title and then the Rapids won their title. But, I mean, it's no doubt that Salt Lake won that trade by a lot. And it's weird now to see Beckerman because he shaved his dreads. And he doesn't have a businessman haircut, but it's not like dreads in Salt Lake Mormon Temple business haircut. It's weird. But anyway, it's weird to see him without the dreads. And once again, just because it's 2025, we're going to have new listeners. Pablo Mastroeni is exiled, much like heads of state when they leave. Captain for the 2010 MLS champions. And when he quits or gets fired from Salt Lake, we welcome him back with open arms, and he is a Colorado Rapid for life, but he's in exile. And yes, it is the only other MLS club in the Mountain Time Zone, but it might as well be, in the Yukon territories in Canada. Might as well. Just saying. And I'm still talking about the only Mexican League of Mex team in the Mountain Time Zone, Juarez, who the Rapids got to host last year, and they got a victory over our northern Mexico homies in the Mountain Time Zone. I think they should play Salt Lake Rapids and Juarez should play like some kind of cup or some kind of tournament. Maybe I can get another team. If Arizona ever gets a team, although who knows what the expansion plans for MLS are like now. I think Arizona's going to, they announced a USL Division 1 today, actually, with, of course, U.S. Soccer Federation recognizing MLS as the only first division league. Anyway, I think Arizona is going to have a big part of USL. And I don't understand how they don't have a Major League Soccer team like that. You think that would be one of the perfect situations, and especially, and I'm not even going to talk about the calendar switch for the MLS today. I'm going to bring that up next week before the season starts because we got CONCACAF Champions Cup before that. So we'll see what happens there. Coming into the club, and like I said, I was looking like who else left, and as far as I could, it was not many people. They got way more coming in than going out. And for the record, another person that left last year, Moise Bombito. I'm glad I got his jersey. We'll see. And he's been playing. He's been starting. He got hurt, but he's been starting pretty much every game for Nice. He got to play Champions League. They didn't do so well in that competition. But as it stands, as the crow flies on Valentine's Day 2025, Nice, third place in French Ligue 1. So they are in Champions League, UEFA Champions League contention for next year. So that'll be awesome to watch him play Champions League, and maybe they get a better draw because they had a tough one. But I always watch Nice to kind of follow Bombito because, and by the way, he was the fastest player in Europe this year. in all of Europe. Bombito. So we got to watch that and think about that. All those guys, cream of the crop, young, and not to take anything away from MLS, but Bombito, who was here, the fastest player. And we got to see that at Dick's Sporting Goods Park. It was a short stretch, but Rapids scouts hit that out of the park with that draft pick. Speaking of draft picks, last year, Kamani Stewart-Baines scored in the second to last game of the preseason. So he's back there. I don't think he's starting, but we'll see. And, the shooting star, the supernova that was Boys Bombito, that's I'm not saying once in a lifetime, but it's a very rare, $7 million transfer free for the Rapids, and getting him for free out of the draft. Good job to our scouts. Other players that came to the Colorado Rapids for the super draft. And by the way, we're just talking about dumb trades. Philadelphia, I don't know why they did it. And to speculate that is who knows? You got to get into their heads, but I'll take it. And if the Rapids are building through the draft, even better. But Philadelphia, they traded 2 picks from this year, round 1 and round 3, and then the next 2 years, 26, because it'll be the draft that goes. So this next draft in December of 25, and the draft after that in 26. We're getting both of their first round picks. So Philadelphia traded all of their picks for these 3 drafts to the Rapids and it's not even $600,000 in general allocation or GAM. It's up to, because it depends on some metrics if the players hit or not. And the sports reference I was talking about earlier was, if you remember Ricky Williams, he's a running back from Texas. And Mike Ditka was the head coach of the New Orleans Saints, but he was also kind of the general manager. So he's making the business decisions. And people would say it's a bad one in New Orleans Saints. And they didn't really recover until Denver Broncos coach Sean Payton went to there. And obviously they won the Super Bowl and everything. But the Saints traded up to get Ricky Williams. And they traded, I think it was 2 draft, like their entire football draft, which is the main way that NFL, they get players. That's the main way to get players, like under free agent money, and the way to build your team without just going out and spending crazy. And so the New Orleans Saints did that. They sent them, I think it was 3 first-round picks, 2 second-round picks, or reverse of that. But like their whole draft, and they traded, all of them, 1 through 7 rounds for 2 years. Excuse me. And yeah, it didn't work out for the Saints. Eventually, Ditka got fired, and Ricky Williams resurrected his career in Miami for a couple years anyway. And yeah, man, and we know that running backs don't last that long. So he had a really good career after coming out of winning the Heisman Trophy and coming out of the University of Texas. But it didn't work out for the Saints. And you can see the philosophies of the Philadelphia Union and the Colorado Rapids. Rapids trying to build for the draft, and they're going for I'm buying as many lottery tickets as I can to see if I can hit some. Philadelphia, maybe they're just spending money on their training academy, and just paying money to free agents to get them in, and that's a way to go too. But as we've seen in the past, and I was kind of researching Armis's stops, and he develops players. Armis can develop players, and obviously he was doing that last year. He got Yappy to score some goals, some big goals. Cole Bassett called Armis the best coach he's ever had, and he developed more, and he's still young. Omir. Omir had his moments last year, doing better, but the 50-plus goals the Rapids scored, I think it was their most since the 90s. And this is the 30th year of MLS. So, we'll take it. But 9 picks, and let's go through this. Alex Harris, forward from Cornell. Matthew Senna now, number 6 overall from Xavier, Cincinnati. And forgive me this one, Efatobo Aror from Portland, midfielder. Vermont, Sydney Watuta. Man, all right. Another forward, Detroit Mercy, Joshua Copeland. A defenseman from Chapel Hill, Tar Heel, North Carolina, Charlie Harper. Excited for that one. Donovan Phillip, forward from North Carolina State, the Wolfpack. There will be a NCAA basketball bet. Maybe I'll ask those guys about that later in the season. A Las Vegas Light, USL pick, Sean Smart, defenseman in round number 3 and the last of the Rapids draft of 9 players. Matthew Van Hoord, midfielder from Georgetown. Here's a tidbit. The other Georgetown player on the Rapids, Captain Keegan Rosenberry, going into his second full year of being captain for the Rapids. Couple other transactions, and this one was just the other week. And he's been with the Rapids for February 8th, so not really, maybe a week. But Ali Fidel out of Valencia, he's on the Rapids, another midfielder, and forgive me for this one, Theodore Di-Pietro, DC United. So the Rapids we're seeing what's happening, man. We're giving a lot of players trials. And I'm excited about it. I'm excited to see kind of what sticks, see who we can develop, because, and the other thing is about RMS developing players is the Rapids 2, a couple years ago, they were, first place in the Western Conference of MLS Next Pro. Last year, didn't do so hot. There are some players that are gone. Marlon left, the captain. Although I saw him get a red card after Marlon, he was a fiery player, as they would say. Fire in his belly. Got a red card for talking trash to the ref. And you're the captain? Maybe don't do that. Anyway, he's gone. And, we developed all the draft picks from 2 years ago. They got a lot of time in Rapids too, and I'm sure some of these 9 players that we picked this year are going to be there, including Sam Bassett, who played on DU in their college team, and they had a pretty good run to the I think it's the NCAA College Cup. They went pretty far in that, which was the first for DU, so that was awesome. And he gets to stay home and be on the team with his brother Cole, so that should be interesting. The other guy from Rapids 2 that got a bunch of training time with the first team, Dauda Amadou. Want to see what he can contribute. So, obviously, you don't want to just feel out players in CONCACAF Champions Cup. But, we did play, it's been a month and a half of preseason already. I think they came the second week of January. So, a month of preseason. But they get to play many games. They're all behind closed doors, but we did get to see highlights. I watched all the highlights I could because I do that. And, I'm excited to see what these kids have. And I do like to go to Rapids 2 games at the beginning of the season so I can maybe see some players up and coming. But, so if we're a developing player team, a developing young player, maybe selling them for something on the market, I think that's Chris Armis's strength. And if we can hit, if we get a lottery pick, it's not going to be like Bombito, but and nobody should expect that. But if we can get something, if we can get higher in the table, that's just how we have to do it in Colorado, right? We're not Miami, who could just, it's weird. And I'll also compare it to this is free agents. It's not that we don't have good players, but when you have the quarterback in the NFL, players that are, free agents on the fringe or guys that are really, really good and they just want to go to try to win a title. Like, you get those guys when Peyton Manning's your quarterback. You get those guys when John Elway's your quarterback. And now I'm sure that Philadelphia, they're going to want some guys that'll take less money to go maybe win a Super Bowl with the Eagles again. Which I am old enough to remember the Eagles just being a laughingstock for many years. But now it's flipped. And just to make fun of Dallas again, now Dallas sucks. And they are the only, at least the Washington Redskins, the Washington Commanders, the Washington Commanders have been to an NFC championship game. Dallas Cowboys have not even done that. At least the FC Dallas Burn, they've been to a final. They lost to us, the Rapids, not us, the Colorado Rapids. But, they've been to a final in this millennia. And I know it's all cyclical, and the Cowboys fans, I think Cowboys fans are more annoying than Patriots fans or now Chiefs fans. And I'm going to listen to that for the rest of my life. And I'm so glad the Chiefs didn't win the Super Bowl, because I did have a bet. It was money for me if I win, and I was going to have to wear black every day. They used to call Johnny Cash, and people probably don't know who I'm talking about. Johnny Cash, this country music singer, Folsom Prison Blues. They used to call him the Man in Black, and I was going to have to be the Man in Black. I said emo, goth every day until next NFL season if the Chiefs three-peated at the Super Bowl. But luckily, I didn't, and I had to hold out until the Super Bowl last week. But I did win that bet, and that will be purchasing my new Rapids kit. And I'm really excited about that. The Headwaters. They actually released that today on Valentine's Day. And I could not, and I can't get out of going down to that pop-up shop, because I will be hanging out with my wife, my lovely wife, and she puts up with a lot. So, it's a jersey reveal day. You want to do what now? No, I can't do that. I got vetoed by that one, but I will be at the game on Tuesday. So luckily, she will let me out of the house for that. But I do like the jersey, and they had like a preview of being in the mountains and rapids and stuff. So it actually has something to do with water, which makes me excited. Headwaters. It's where all the the exciting, the nervousness. It's like right before you go on stage, or right before, I'm sure before a game. If you don't have nerves, like, you need some nerves. You need to burn off that adrenaline. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you don't have that, you're doing the wrong thing. If you don't have the little nerves before, performing in public. And yeah, so I got some of that. And, right before the Rapids, and I lost my train of thought. So there goes that. But I'm just glad for the guys. And I love the jersey even more than, although it was very important, the mental health one that we had for the last couple of years. I do like the 2 shades of green, mint, and like it's kind of our old green, a little darker. But I like that. I'll take it. I'm excited to see next year now what they do for the home, the burgundy again. But I was going to say, it was important. The mental health message that came with the last blue, and I have the artist's name at the tip of my tongue, and I hope they keep his mural down there on the concourse on the north east side of the stadium over there, and I'm sure they will. But put another, and I like this one. It's kind of like a little digital camo, if people know what that means, that the Army changed to here, maybe 15 years ago, and I like it. So there is worse. There could be worse. You could look like a checkered flag like Salt Lake does now. Anyway. And not only will I be rooting for Salt Lake to lose every game as standard, if people have listened to Rapid Rant long enough, they'll know that. But now, and I was talking about the trading situation in the draft, now we will be rooting for Philadelphia to lose every single match. Every single one. Because it directly affects the Rapids organization because we have their picks for the next 2 years. So I will be updating you guys on Philadelphia, and they will be playing next week when the season starts. And forgive me, I have that. I got a lot of tabs open. Where are we at here? All right, Philadelphia. The first match of the season will be in Orlando against Orlando FC. So Pareja and he still has his job, right? Because they made a deep run in the playoffs last year. They went pretty far, and good for him. So he'll be there, and so they'll play Orlando. A couple pretty good teams in the Eastern Conference. Let's go over what has already happened in CONCACAF Champions Cup this year, because that started last week. It was all Mexico teams. International teams, not just Mexico. And MLS will start on Tuesday. All right. Real Hope opened up CONCACAF Champions Cup against Cruz Azul. Cruz Azul 2-0 over Hope. Monterrey over Forge 2-0. It was Estelle over Tigres 1-0. Chivas and Sabao drew at 1. Calvary 2. Pumas 1. Tough day for Pumas. They didn't do so hot in Leagues Cup either. So, and it looks like Cruz Azul already went through over Real Hope 5-0 in the rematch. 7-0. They skunked them. 7-0 total for Cruz Azul. Monterrey shut out Real Forge. They also didn't score a goal against Monterrey, and that was 3-0 last Tuesday. Chivas over Sabao 3-0. They're through to the next round. Tigres over Estelle 3-0 as well. And it was Pumas 2-0 over Cavalry. And so we have a bunch of teams that already qualified. Coming up Tuesday, the Rapids playing in one of the first Champions Cup matches. Tuesday night, LAFC will visit Colorado. Earlier in the evening, Inter Miami goes to Kansas City. Lower seed gets to host first, so there's that. Miami and KC. That should be interesting. Hopefully they have that on in the press box. We can watch it a little before Rapid start. Wednesday, Salt Lake play host. Nope, they go to, and I looked it up where it was, and I've now forgot. Herendiano, Salt Lake goes there. Seattle goes to Antigua. Cincinnati, Montague, and Vancouver, the Canadian Cup champions, Suppressa in their Champions Cup opener. That will be next week's CONCACAF Champions Cup schedule. And then and all these MLS teams have 3 games in 7 days, 8 days, because and even that, like now the Rapids play on Tuesday, so Salt Lake plays on Wednesday. They play Wednesday, Saturday. Every other team gets Wednesday, Saturday games. Although, so Seattle, Cincinnati, Salt Lake, Wednesday, Saturday. Vancouver, I think they play on Sunday night, but if not, Thursday, Saturday. So and they have to go international. So that's going to be crossing some distance for Vancouver Whitecaps. And I don't know what. I mean, let me just look up Saprissa real quick, because that could be a jaunt, as they say. That would be Costa Rica. They got to go to Costa Rica and all the way back to Vancouver. Well, let's see who they're playing. But Vancouver might be playing. That's a tough road trip to start off the season. Who do they play MLS-wise next week? They do play on Sunday, and they go to Philadelphia. So, man, they're going to be far away from their homes for a while, the Vancouver Whitecaps. So good luck to them. I hope they lose both games, as I said, because they play in the Eastern Conference, and nope, they're playing Portland. Wait. No, they're playing Portland. Forgive me. Playing Portland, so they'll be close to home, but still, international trip. Costa Rica, I assume they'll go to Oregon from there, and they're from Vancouver, so that's interesting. It's an interesting one. Customs in the United States coming from Costa Rica, and you live in Canada, so there's that. And then Sunday night, the game we've all been waiting for, the champs host, and I guess it's a banner game, San Diego, the expansion side. I will definitely be watching that one. And it is also during the NBA All-Star game. So we'll have the double TV setup. LA, San Diego, of course, Rapids will be visiting St. Louis SC, a team they swept last year after St. Louis had a very good time in their expansion year 2 years ago. We'll see how St. Louis comes out of the gate this year. So St. Louis hosting Colorado the end of next week. Rapids, of course, play on Tuesday. They get a couple days of rest between then and the MLS opener. And, of course, I believe it is Saturday, March 1st at home. Lawless coming back. FC Dallas visits the Colorado Rapids, but we'll get to that later. I didn't even do the jersey thing, but it's already been 40 minutes of me droning on. And I understand that when I do the show by myself versus when I have a conversation with other people, I get a little bit more animated. I believe that's the ADHD happening, but, maybe that's too much information for you. I am excited for the Rapids this year. Georgie's coming back. It looked like Cole was healthy on those highlights that I watched, which are, admittedly not game tape, but he looked good. Omir got some time, saw Kevin Harris up there. I'm excited to see what our defense looks like, although we will have Captain Keegan Rosenberry, still back there. Obviously, Maxu is back there every minute, played every minute last year. Zach Steffen looks sharp in the highlights that we saw. Of course, there was a shutout in the last match against Toronto FC. By the way, good luck to old Rapids boss, Robin Fraser, who is the head coach of Toronto FC now. So good for him. Glad he's in the Eastern Conference. The Rapids do not play them this year, just in the preseason that happened last weekend. So we won't be seeing him. Maybe next year. Rapids do not play Miami this year and Messi. So there's that. But other than that, next week, I think I'm trying to do it Monday right before the Tuesday Champions Cup game and home opener for the Colorado Rapids. I'm going to bring another Rapids Rant. You can find us live on YouTube. Subscribe to that, and you can get updates for when I'm doing a live Rapids Rant. Otherwise, listen to us on your favorite podcasting platforms. You can subscribe on there, get them straight to your inbox. I try to go 30 minutes. I try to go, in between that, a commute home or commute to the office. Since everybody's now going back to the office, that's a rule that our dear leader made for the country. And follow us on all social media platforms. Now on Blue Sky, by the way, and TikTok. Look up Mountain Time Sports Report or Rapids Rant on there. It'll take you to that. I do post podcasts to those, and I post links to that. So follow us Facebook, on every single social media site. I will just say the major ones. So I am Don Pablo. This is Rapid Rant. I will talk to you guys later. Thank you for listening. Hey!